Hello and welcome to Eye on Africa. I'm Mariam Saab in Paris. Tonight, the investigation into the gruesome murder of two UN experts and their interpreter in Congo back in March takes a new turn as two suspects face trial on war crime charges. One person was forced from their home every second of last year to escape conflict and natural disaster around the world. But Congo was the worst affected, with 922,000 internally displaced people, according to a report. And the Han-aga festival brings music and hope to the South Sudanese capital of Juba, drawing local artists from different ethnic groups together onto the same stage in a show of solidarity. Let's begin in the Democratic Republic of Congo, where 2 out of 16 suspects will soon face trial on war crime charges over the killings of UN experts American Michael Sharp, Swedish-Chilean dual national Zaidan Catalan, and their interpreter. On March 12th, the group went missing while investigating human rights abuses by the army and local militia groups in the Kasai Central province, where rebels ramped up an anti-government insurgency. The government has denied complicity in the murders, blaming members of the Kamwina Sapu militia. The investigation into who ordered the killings continues. The latest break comes from Catalan's personal computer. Documents show that she was following a former government minister with alleged links to militia fighters, as our correspondent in Kinshasa, Thomas Nicolin, explains.
Did Congressman Clément Kankou play a part in the clashes that have been taking place in the Kasai province since August 2016? Well, the New York Times revealed the existence of 2 audio files. On the first one, Clément Kankou is having a conversation with someone who seems to be a militiaman and who's telling Mr. Kankou that the village of Chimbulu has been burnt to the ground, to which Mr. Kankou replies that it's a good thing. On the second file, Mr. Kankou is having a conversation about the murder of an officer and his bodyguards. Mr. Kankou asks for details, but it is hard to know whether he approves of this assassination that led to the death of 9 people. Clément Kankou joined Sami Badibanga's government as a minister in December 2016, and he was part of this government until Prime Minister Sami Badibanga resigned earlier this month. Clément Kankou said he will hold a press conference on Tuesday.
More than 31 million people were displaced within their own country last year due to political turmoil and natural disasters. That's one person every single second. But nowhere more so than Congo. It was the hardest hit by internal displacement caused by conflict, with more than 922,000 people uprooted from their homes in 2016. That's followed by Syria and Iraq. In Congo, many of those people fled violence that flared last August in the Kasai region, as we've been discussing tonight, where more than 400 people, including women and children, have been killed in clashes between the army and rebels. But other parts of the country have also been impacted. Nicolas Germain reports.
The media often report on the plight of refugees. They talk less about internally displaced people, like here in North Kivu in Congo. Yet there are twice as many, and unlike refugees who seek asylum in other nations, displaced people stay in their country and therefore cannot claim international protection. This man is a displaced farmer.
There are many problems here. We're hungry, we don't have rainproof clothes, we feel naked. But the place we came from isn't safe. Our kitchen equipment, clothes and animals were all looted by armed groups.
In Congo last year, more than 900,000 people fled their homes because of conflicts. That's more than in Syria.
Sub-Saharan Africa actually overtook the Middle East as the region most affected by internal displacement in 2016. This was driven primarily by a huge spike in the Democratic Republic of Congo, where we recorded close to 1 million new displacements by conflict during the year.
Congo was the most affected country, but Nigeria did not come far behind, with more than 500,000 displaced people because of armed clashes. In all, in sub-Saharan Africa last year, 2.5 million people were displaced within their own country because of conflicts.
Gambia's former leader Yahya Jammeh stole around $50 million while a court froze his assets. That's according to the Justice Minister. It's the first time that the government has officially confirmed the extent to which Jammeh stole from state coffers before leaving for exile in Equatorial Guinea earlier this year after 22 years in power. Jammeh reportedly used a state telecoms company to funnel the funds. The government has now placed a new hold on his assets, freezing 88 bank accounts and 14 companies linked with the former strongman. In other news from the continent, South Sudan's President Salva Kiir declared a unilateral ceasefire on Monday in a controversial bid to end a civil war that excludes his rival, Riek Machar. It's not the first time Kiir has vowed the army will lay down arms in the three-year conflict, and he warned that his troops would defend themselves if attacked. Kiir will oversee a 94-member steering committee to probe the aspirations of the people of South Sudan and pave the way for humanitarian aid to reach areas plagued by famine. Kiir has drawn criticism from opposition groups for refusing to bring Machar into the fold. South Sudan has been at war since December 2013 when Kiir fell out with Machar, accusing him of plotting a coup. And on a more upbeat note, this past weekend, the Han-aga festival put on a show of solidarity in South Sudan's capital, Juba. Singers, bands and dance troupes from different ethnic groups joined together in the face of violence that has rocked the world's youngest country since civil war broke out in 2013. Organisers intended to bring together a younger generation at risk of being split along tribal lines, caught up in a conflict that has displaced millions and killed tens of thousands.
It was an historic first in Juba, a festival that united many artists from the South Sudanese capital toward one goal, denouncing civil war and violence. Music, traditional dance, rap, and reggae, an array of performers used different means to get the same message across.
The festival itself means Han-aga, which means this country is ours. So we have to claim our country in order to get to where we want it to be for our children.
There was a music stage outside and a painting exhibition inside Juba's cultural center. South Sudanese youth finally got the chance to discover their country's artists. It was the first event of its kind and had an impressive turnout. Several thousand locals attended the performances.
I've never been coming for such big occasions, but today I've been dragged to come here so that I'm able to see several artists.
The organizers should continue doing this kind of thing because it is one way through which people can preach the message of peace.
One group that took part in the festival grew out of the renewed fighting in Juba last July. As they watched their country slide back into violence, members of the collective created a national movement known as Anataban, an Arabic term meaning we are tired.
From there, the creatives of South Sudan came together and thought, we are tired of what's going on. We are tired of the mess that is happening in our country, and we said we wanted to change that as the youth who are the majority in the country.
Organizers plan to expand initiatives like the festival in hopes that young people across South Sudan can work together toward a peaceful future. Ongoing civil war has caused tens of thousands of deaths since the fighting began in December 2013.
And that's all for this edition of Eye on Africa. Do stay with us. There's more news coming up. You're watching France 24.